Thank you for granting us this interview.
Thank you. Honored to be with you.
Thank you. I wonder how it occurred that under President Trump, the administration had contacts and agreement with the Houthis that tax Israel on a daily basis without Israel, the biggest ally of the United States, knows about it.
I think it was a matter of the Houthis recognizing that they're already being bombarded by the Israelis. Americans were also bombarding them. We've been pressuring them for weeks to leave our shipping capacity alone, stop the shipping really disruption, and stop hitting our ships. For reasons that I think surprised all of us, they decided that they would pull away from that. I think we all understand that if the Houthis were to continue to attack Israel, they potentially are attacking the United States because we have 700,000 Americans living in Israel. And if they attack Israel and hurt an American, they've now attacked America.
But is this the reason that Israel didn't get notification regarding the agreement? I mean, why not having the Prime Minister of Israel knowing about it?
I don't know what he knew and when he knew it. I'm not sure about that. I know he was informed. I do not know at what time. I think it's a matter of any time you can get the Houthis to stop sending rockets and missiles at anything, it's a good thing. It'll be a better thing when the Houthis realize they need to stop all of their missiles, all of their rockets, and start behaving like normal human beings.
I want to get back to the war. A year ago, an American hostage, Hersh Goldberg Paul was still alive. And he was murdered by Hamas when the IDF forces were approaching Rafah when he was held captive over there. And I wonder, as we're on the brink of another expansion of the IDF ground operation into Gaza, are you afraid that something similar will happen to Idan Alexander or to any other hostage?
I worry every day about the hostages. You know, I pray for their return. I don't know of anyone who's not deeply concerned about what's next. When will they come home? Will they come home? It is the highest priority, I think, that I have coming here. It's the highest priority that the president has as it relates to this country. But let's also never forget why they're being held. They're being held by Hamas because they're savages. And everything that happens to any of the hostages, it is on the hands and the head of Hamas.
But how can we promote the end of 59 hostages that are still being captive into Hamas' hands?
The difficult part is that it's the only thing Hamas is holding on to. I would love for them to act like human beings, act like civilized people. But you've done this to civilians. You've done this to pregnant women. You've done this to babies. You've done this to elderly people. And for that, Hamas cannot be forgiven.
Is the trip of the president to Qatar will include any advanced into negotiations?
I think there's been an enormous level of pressure the world has not fully understood or known on every possible entity that might have influence on Hamas to get them to release hostages. No stone has been left unturned, whether it's with Qatar, the Egyptians, the Jordanians, the Saudis. The only entity we really don't have any, I guess, influence with are the Iranians, who, of course, are the funders for Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. If you look at all the evil in the Middle East, it's hard not to see that ultimately it ends up in Tehran.
Regarding Qatar, because you've mentioned it, do you think that Qatar have laid the amount of pressure that it should have been towards Hamas in order to change the reality here?
I can only hope so. I think they have been in a unique position because they have allowed many of the Hamas leaders to live in Doha.
Due to an American and Israeli request.
There have been strong pressures placed on the Qataris to use all influence they can to try to get the hostages out. That much I absolutely can tell you with certainty. And I think everybody's frustrated that Hamas is not responding to anyone, which shows you their stubbornness. It shows you how uncivil they really are and how unwilling they are to recognize their future in Gaza is over. There's not one. And the sooner that they come to grips with that and the sooner they let the hostages go, everyone is better off.
In a retrospective, was it a mistake from the U.S. to encourage Doha to host Hamas leadership, to encourage Doha to fund Gaza, including Hamas?
I think everyone has looked at every angle. No one has done anything in this because they wanted to help Hamas. That I can tell you. Mm-hmm. Anything that has been done, whether it's by the Americans, the Israelis, or the Europeans, it's first, get the hostages out. Two, stop the conflict, restore some sense of civil order, and end Hamas forever. And that has to be part of the equation. Nobody that I know can rationally say, oh, yeah, Hamas has a future. Hamas can continue to govern Gaza. Mm-hmm. That's not on the table.
Your position regarding the settlements is very well known. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, do you think settlements should also be built in Gaza?
It's really not my job as an ambassador to articulate what I think. Mm-hmm. I certainly have strong opinions. I've articulated them through many, many years of being here. Mm-hmm. But my job is to serve the interests of the president and to articulate his positions. Quite frankly, the issue of the settlements is not an American issue. It's an Israeli issue.
But you wish?
I would say that I will follow the dictates of the president's policy here. But we also recognize that America won't make that decision as to how Israel will approach Judea and Samaria. It'll be a decision made in Israel by the Israelis.
In another subject, does the Trump administration is going to normalize the ties between Saudi Arabia and Israel?
I sure hope so. We all hope so. Mm-hmm. Everyone benefits from that. The expansion of the Abraham Accords could be one of the best things that would bring a greater level of stability in the Middle East.
Is it a matter of the next months?
Hard to say. I mean, I think it's up to the Saudis. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt in my mind that the Israelis would love to see normalization.
So what are the obstacles? Because we've heard President Trump talking about it years ago.
Sure.
So is this the Palestinian issues and the pathway towards a Palestinian state?
I think it's bigger than that. The Saudis have their own unique challenges from within. They can only go as far as their people are willing to say, yeah, that's a great idea.
It's not a democracy yet.
No, it's not. But there's still influence of the population. I think the Crown Prince is wise to take this very carefully and thoughtfully. He doesn't want to push beyond the limits of the people to absorb and accept it. The one thing that I believe is true throughout the Middle East and the Gulf states, with the exception of Iran, everyone looks at Israel no longer as an enemy. They're not a threat. Israel's not challenging and saying, we want to take over a piece of Jordan. We want to take over a piece of Saudi Arabia. Nobody says that because it's not true, and everybody knows it isn't true.
There are still forces in Lebanon and in Syria while we are talking, Israeli forces.
Defensive forces, sure. You know, when you get shot at over and over from your backyard, you want the people out of your backyard. So I understand that. They want a place where Jewish people from around the world can come and live and be safe, and where their mothers can put their babies to bed at night and not worry that 2, 3, 4 times during that night they're going to have to get their babies up and take them to the shelter while their husband's fighting a war in Gaza.
Tell me more about it. I'm very familiar with that.
I'm sure you are, and all the more reason to why we need to see peace in this region. And Israel needs to have an extended, forever period of time when a siren is something done on a Memorial Day and not as a means of warning that someone's trying to kill you.
We can conclude the interview without talking about Iran. Next week, there's another round of talks, direct talks with the Iranians. Should we expect soon another agreement, nuclear agreement with Iran?
I mean, we could all hope that the Iranians decide that they're not going to have nuclear weapons. Mm-hmm. But for 46 years, the Iranians have really not been the most reliable people when it comes to making an agreement or keeping one. Mm-hmm. So do we hope for it? Of course we do. Do we think it's going to happen and sit on the edge of our seats believing that they're just ready to do it? Mm-hmm. Time will tell. But if it doesn't, the President of the United States has been explicitly clear. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
But uranium enrichment, yes.
No, I think
not at all?
I can't tell you what that would look like. If there was some way in which they had a legitimate energy need, mm-hmm. but you don't need enriched uranium for that. They can get it in other sources. They don't need that for energy production. Besides, they've got enough oil. I'm not sure they need the nuclear energy anyway.
Ambassador Hackabee, thank you for this interview.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed being with you.
Thank you.